Check your bank account right now. No, seriously, pull it up. What do you feel? If it's that familiar knot in your stomach, the quiet panic, the instant urge to close the app and pretend you didn't look, you already know. You're stuck in survival mode. But what if the next time you checked, you actually smiled? What if a single number could flip the entire relationship you have with money, from fear to freedom? Not $1 million, not six figures. It's $20,000. And once you hit it, every financial rule you've ever learned gets rewritten. I'm Woljack. I'm obsessed with financial psychology. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why $20,000 is the real wealth breakthrough, and how crossing it changes your brain, your career, and your future. Stay with me, because this is the money advice nobody gave you. The invisible threshold most people never see. All right, let's start with a question. When you picture someone building real wealth, what comes to mind? Maybe a trust fund kid who never had to worry, or someone grinding 80-hour weeks for decades, slowly stacking pennies. Both images are extremes, and honestly, neither captures what actually happens. The truth is, wealth building isn't a straight line. It's a series of invisible barriers, certain financial thresholds that the moment you cross them, completely change the rules of the game. And $20,000, a fully liquid, invested, or emergency-funded $20,000, is the first major threshold that separates people who end up wealthy from people who will spend their entire lives living paycheck to paycheck. Think of it like pushing a massive boulder up a hill. The first push is brutal. You're straining, sweating, making almost no visible progress. You're questioning whether it's even possible. That's what saving your first $20,000 can feel like. But here's the magic. Once you get that boulder to the top, something shifts. The boulder starts rolling downhill on its own. Gravity, or in this case, compound growth, starts working for you, not against you. And the craziest part? Most people don't even know this threshold exists. They stay stuck in the pushing phase their entire lives because no one ever told them the top is closer than they think. The psychology shift from survival mode to strategy mode. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, and it might be the most important point in this entire video. The difference at $20,000 isn't just mathematical. It's not simply that you have more money to invest, or that your returns are larger in absolute terms. The real transformation happens inside your head. When you don't have money saved, your brain operates in what psychologists call survival mode. Every financial decision gets filtered through fear and scarcity. You take the first job offer that comes along, even if it's terrible, because you can't afford to be picky. You stay in situations you hate because leaving feels too risky. You say yes to things you don't want to do just because you need the paycheck. And this isn't a character flaw. When you're in survival mode, your brain literally cannot think about growth and opportunity. It's like trying to plan an international vacation while your kitchen is on fire. All your mental bandwidth is consumed by immediate threats. How do I cover rent? What if my car breaks down? Can I even afford groceries this week? But something remarkable happens when you cross that $20,000 threshold. The fire goes out. Your brain finally has the space to breathe. And instead of asking, how do I survive until next paycheck? You start asking, how can I grow this money? Instead of being reactive to whatever financial crisis pops up, you become proactive about building wealth. And this shift isn't just anecdotal. Vanguard's research shows that having just $2,000 in emergency savings increases your financial well-being by 21%. Let that sink in. $2,000, less than many people spend on a vacation or a MacBook, creates a massive psychological buffer simply because it moves you one step out of pure survival mode. Now, scale that up to 3 to 6 months of living expenses, which for a huge number of people lands right around the $20,000 mark, and you get another significant boost in well-being. But more importantly, you've now created enough breathing room for your brain to shift from wealth preservation to wealth creation. That's the gear change nobody talks about. The math that feels unfair at first, then miraculous. All right, now let's put some numbers behind this, because the math is what makes the psychology tangible. And fair warning, this might make you a little angry at first, then incredibly motivated. Let's say you're saving $1,000 every single month, and you're earning an average 8% annual return on your investments. Those are simple, realistic numbers, not get-rich-quick fantasy. Getting to your first $20,000 takes about 19 months. A year and a half of discipline, of saying no to things you have want, of watching every dollar, of pushing that boulder uphill. It's hard work. And frankly, this is exactly where most people give up. They get a year in, life gets expensive, they stop. But stick with me. Your second $20,000 doesn't take another 19 months. It only takes about 17 months. Why? Because now that first $20,000 is working alongside you, generating its own returns. You're still saving the same $1,000 a month, same effort, same job, same discipline, but 2 full months got shaved off the timeline simply because your money showed up to help. By the time you're going for your third $20,000, the timeline shrinks even more, and here's where it becomes almost absurd, in a beautiful way. Once you hit $400,000 in your investment portfolio, you can generate the next $20,000 in just 5 months. 5 months to do what initially took you almost 2 years. That same milestone that once felt impossible now happens automatically through your investments, without you having to work extra hours or sacrifice anything. This is the power of compound interest, moving from a textbook theory into your actual life. The first milestone feels like climbing Everest without oxygen. Every milestone after that feels like the mountain getting shorter, even though you're walking the same pace. That's the threshold effect in action. Why money goes to money isn't a conspiracy. Now, you might be thinking, sure, rich people have access to some secret world I can't touch. Hedge funds, private deals, special opportunities. And while there's some truth to that at the extreme high end, that is not what's driving this $20,000 phenomenon. The real secret is embarrassingly simple and way more encouraging. It's just basic math. When you invest $1,000 and it grows 10% in a year, you make $100. Apply that exact same growth rate to $10,000, and suddenly you're looking at $1,000. Exact same investment, same time frame, same level of risk, but one result is a nice dinner, and the other starts to feel like real progress. This is why hitting $20,000 is such a turning point. Before that, your investment returns feel almost cosmetic. A 10% return on $2,000 is $200. Great, but not life-changing. But a 10% return on $20,000 is $2,000. Now, we're talking about money that can cover a major repair, a flight to see family, a month's rent. Money that showed up not because you worked overtime, but because your existing money went to work for you. And here's the part I love. The investment strategy isn't any more sophisticated than what someone with $100 can use. You can buy the exact same index funds, use the same brokerages, follow the same boring, proven principles. The only difference is scale. But scale transforms small percentage wins into genuine financial momentum. That's not unfair, it's just math. And once you understand it, you stop waiting for some secret door to open, and you just start building. The hidden superpower you game at $20,000. Now, I want to talk about something that doesn't show up on any spreadsheet. Something that, once you notice it, will change how you see every job, every negotiation, and every risk in your life. Hitting $20,000 doesn't just change your bank account, it changes your relationship with work. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you are, in a very real sense, trapped. Your boss could be toxic, your industry unstable, your work mind-numbing, but you can't leave because you need that next paycheck to survive. That puts you in a terribly weak negotiating position. You can't ask for a raise because what if they fire you? You can't push back on unreasonable demands because they might replace you. You can't explore other opportunities because taking a day off for interviews feels too dangerous. You're stuck, and on some level, everyone knows it. But $20,000 changes the entire dynamic. I call it walking away money. With that buffer, you could quit tomorrow and survive for months while you find something better. And please hear me. This does not mean you should be reckless or burn bridges. It means you now negotiate from a position of strength instead of desperation. And here's the psychological magic. You often never even need to use it. Just knowing you could walk away changes your entire demeanor at work. You become more confident, more assertive, more willing to take on challenging projects. You stop apologizing for asking for the raise you deserve. And guess what happens when you show up differently? People notice. Suddenly, you're getting better assignments, more recognition, and yes, more money. It's like a secret superpower. What? You hope you never have to use it, but the fact that it's there changes everything about how you move through the world. And the best part, the more confident and successful you become at work, the faster you build wealth, which gives you even more options and even more confidence. It's a positive feedback loop that only accelerates over time. The big decisions finally get clear. There's another shift that happens around the $20,000 mark that completely rewires how you think about spending. And it might sound backwards at first. When you're broke, you obsess over every small purchase. Brand name cereal versus generic. That $3 coffee versus making it at home. Should I get the premium gas? These tiny decisions consume enormous mental energy because every dollar feels scarce and precious. But once you have a solid financial foundation, something liberating happens. You start caring less about the small stuff and more about the big levers. And here's the truth. Those micro decisions were never going to make or break your financial future. The difference between buying a daily coffee and making it at home is maybe $1,000 a year. If you're really going overboard, that's not nothing, but it's not what's keeping you from building wealth. What actually matters are the big decisions. Where you choose to live, what you drive, how much you save and invest, how aggressively you grow your income. These choices can swing your net worth by tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars over time. So instead of agonizing over whether to buy the organic bananas, you focus your energy on optimizing your housing costs, maximizing your career trajectory, and making sure your investment strategy is rock solid. This shift is incredibly freeing. You stop sweating the tiny line items and start thinking strategically. You realize that complaining about avocado toast while ignoring a $600 car payment is like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. And speaking of cars, the trap that keeps people stuck even after they hit $20,000. This is where I see so many people mess up, and I need you to hear me clearly. They hit $20,000, they feel that psychological shift, that rush of accomplishment. And then they immediately blow it on something that feels like a reward. Maybe they decide they deserve a new car after all that discipline, or they take an expensive vacation because they've earned it. Or they use it as a down payment on a house that actually stretches their budget even tighter. Don't do this. That $20,000 is not a prize for good behavior. It is the foundation of your entire financial future. It is the seed that, if you're patient enough to let it grow, turns into generational wealth. But if you yank it out of the ground, the moment you see the first green sprout, you reset the whole game. Let me give you a painful example that illustrates this perfectly. The average person spends more money on their car over a lifetime than it would take to achieve complete financial independence. Think about that. Between car payments, insurance, maintenance, and gas, a lot of people are dropping $600 to $800 every single month on transportation. Over 40 years, that's easily $400,000 or more just to get from point A to point B. Meanwhile, those same people will tell you they can't afford to save for retirement. It's like spending a fortune on a gym membership you never use while complaining you can't afford healthy food. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses about 20% of its value. You're not just spending money, you're actively destroying wealth. Compare that to investing the same amount in a diversified portfolio. Instead of watching your money evaporate, you're watching it multiply. Now, I get it. Cars are emotional purchases. You want reliability. You want to feel successful. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you understand the trade-off. That car payment might feel wealthy, but it's actually keeping you poor. When you have $20,000 saved, you suddenly start seeing major purchases through a new lens. Instead of thinking, can I afford the monthly payment? You think, what is this really costing me in terms of my future freedom? That $30,000 car isn't just $30,000. Over 20 years in an investment account, it could grow to over $200,000. Staring at that number, suddenly driving a reliable used car doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It feels like a deliberate, strategic choice that is quietly buying your freedom. This mindset extends to everything: housing, education, even hobbies. Not in an obsessive way that sucks all the joy out of life, but in an intentional way that ensures your money is going to the things that genuinely matter to you. And here's the surprise. Once you start thinking this way, you often realize you don't actually want half the stuff you thought you wanted. That bigger apartment would be nice, but is an extra bedroom worth delaying your financial independence by 5 years. That expensive hobby is fun, but there are probably cheaper ways to get the same satisfaction. This isn't about becoming a miser. It's about becoming an adult who directs their resources with purpose, instead of letting them leak away on autopilot. The real $20,000 challenge starts now. So, let's bring this home. $20,000 isn't going to make you wealthy overnight, but it will fundamentally and permanently change who you are in relation to money. It is the line between surviving and designing, between reacting to whatever life throws at you and proactively building a life you actually want. Everything before that milestone feels heavy, slow, and uncertain. Everything after it begins to pick up speed, almost effortlessly, as your money matures from a fragile little pile into a self-charging engine. But here's the key. None of this works if you don't start. Not tomorrow, not when you get that raise, not when things calm down. The decision you make today to take that first step toward $20,000, whether that's automating a small transfer, cutting one major unnecessary expense, or simply looking your current bank balance in the eye without flinching, that decision echoes forward in ways you can't yet imagine. Your future self, 5 or 10 years from now, is going to look back at whatever you do next and thank you. Whether that's clicking subscribe to stay on this path with me, leaving a comment with where you're at in your own journey, or sharing this with a friend who's still stuck in survival mode. Do something right now that moves the needle. My name's Wojak, If you made it this far, you're already thinking differently than 95% of people. Smash that like button so the algorithm knows this message matters. And let's build that foundation together. See you in the next one.